Alright, so let's jump right into it. The goal of the game in vanilla Factorio is to launch a rocket into space. The goal of the game in Space Age is to send a space platform to the edge of the solar system. There's a little more detail in this little chat box, but basically the idea is you're going to advance your factory to the point where you can send a space platform out and get yourself back on your way home, presumably. Something important to note, in the crashed bits of your spaceship, there are various resources. Probably a good idea to collect them. There are two schools of thought about the crashed spaceship. Personally, I like to leave it up as a monument to the engineer's experience. Some people are like, of course you should tear that down as soon as you can possibly manage. Harvesting a little bit of stone here, because we need both stone and coal to make further advances. We're going to drop a burner mining drill here. If you want to get the mining drill to do anything actually useful, you need a certain amount of coal. You can fill the mining drill with coal, and it will start mining. Fairly straightforward. If you want to get more mining drills, you're going to need some stone. And you are going to have to build some stone furnaces. You will also need some iron. So here we are, hitting rocks with a hammer. Iron ore goes into the furnace along with some coal or wood or rocket fuel or whatever. Out come plates. Metal plates are the foundation for just about anything that you can craft in Factorio. Once you have enough resources to build another mining burner, you're going to want to put that on coal or iron or pretty much anything else. We will split the coal from this harvesting round between the stone furnace and the burner mining drill. That'll help us build more drills. Going to need a bunch more drills. Theoretically, you could just put a drill and an iron chest if you wanted to. If you really want to get coal in a hurry, the easiest thing to do is to set up coal miners and a little loot. Plenty of stone around. We're going to need a bunch of stone furnaces. We're going to need a bunch of burner miners. You're going to need a surprising amount of stone. Not right away, but eventually. Probably a good idea to grab some iron. Make yourself an iron chest. Drop it on the stone burner. Throw in some coal. Need another burner miner for copper. We can go up to the copper patch, just up here to the northeast. These structures are all very temporary. We're going to be doing a ton of mining in the very near future that only involves coal in the power generation phase. So we have just finished researching steam power. To research steam power, you just have to create 50 iron plates. We're going to use this a little bit later. We've unlocked electronics. Creating 10 copper plates gets you there. So the next thing in the research tree is red research, automation science packs. In order to research that, you need to create a lab. If you want to run the lab, that requires electricity. We'll get there in a minute. In the meantime, if we want to keep coal manufacturing going, we're going to need a couple more burner miners. This little quadrangle of burner miners will keep you in coal long enough to get to electric power. So, when you are trying to create anything, your base ingredients are almost always going to involve iron plates, copper plates, or both. You can create just about anything by hand. Manual construction lets you build a ton of different things. The main exceptions in the early game, you can't create copper plates and you can't create iron plates because those require smelting, which only happens in a furnace. Let's talk a little bit about pollution, because that is going to be super important in just a few minutes here. If we open up the map, zoom out a little bit, we can see there are already some enemies on the map. On Nauvis, everybody just kind of calls them biters. There are different types of enemies that show up on Nauvis, depending on the type of hive that is hatching them. but everybody just kind of calls the enemies generically on Nauvis as biters, even though there are different types, biters and spitters and so on. The important thing, you have a pollution cloud. When you're mining, when you're smelting, when you're manufacturing items, this contributes to your pollution. We'll talk about military in a bit, but when you are defending your base from the biters, because they are going to attack you, you need to consider the range of your pollution cloud, and you want to basically build walls around that. As you're producing items, you're generating pollution, and the natives don't really like that, so they will attack you when they have the chance. So we have some basic smelting up and running here. We have iron, we have copper, we have some stone. This is enough to get us going. The next thing we need to do is get electricity up and running. And for that, we need copper wire, some wood, going to have to chop down some trees, and we need some water. So next up on our list is going to be getting electricity up and running. The next thing on our research path is research buildings. If you want to unlock research science packs, red science packs, automation science packs, you need to craft a lab. The lab requires electricity. In order to generate electricity, you need to take coal and water, generate steam, produce electrical power. So that's next up on our list, and we'll get to that in the next video.